Welcome. This is Bill Baldridge with the You All Worth It podcast. I'm here with my brother, Eric Freeman. He's going to be sharing his testimony today. Welcome, Eric.
What's going on, Bill?
It's good to have you with me, man. We've been trying to do this for a little while.
It's good to be here.
Can you back up a little bit?
I was born on July 4th, 1990. I was born in Gulfport, Mississippi. I got my dad, David Freeman. My mom, my real mom, her name's Julie. And we lived in a small little, from what I remember bits and pieces. We grew up in a little trailer park. The farthest back that I can remember, they were divorced or going through a divorce, and I was living with my mom. She was pretty abusive. And at the time, I didn't know she was on drugs and alcohol, and she was addicted real bad. Me and my two sisters, I kind of caught the brunt of that because I'm a wild child, I was young and crazy, and
Like physically abusive, emotionally?
so she was physically abusive. I mean, she would beat me for just the smallest of things, and I mean, she would beat me. And then she had like guys that would come in and out of the house, and their abuse was a little different. It was a little darker than physical abuse, but as a kid, there's nothing you can do about it. Because the only person you can tell is the person that don't believe you or she does know about it. She just don't want to say that. And I don't know. I can't speculate on it. Last time I was really with my mom, she had kidnapped me and fled to Texas. I can't remember. I remember the car ride there. I remember there used to be a truck stop called the Tiger Truck Stop. They used to have a tiger in a cage out front. One of the memories of that trip was I wanted a Rice Krispie treat. To this day, I don't eat Rice Krispie treats. I wanted it, and she didn't want to buy it, so she grabbed my hand and stuck it in the tiger cage, and was like trying to get the tiger over there. And yeah, she was crazy. She was crazy. I remember the guy that was driving. He wanted me to touch him, I can't remember. There was some. All I remember, I didn't want to do what he told me to do, and then he took my finger and stuck it in one of those. Remember the old school cigarette lighters?
Yeah.
The ones in the car that you push in and it gets hot? Well, he had took that and stuck my finger in it when it was hot.
Lord.
And then we picked up a homeless man. I remember that. And the homeless man was just as weird. It was just, from what I remember as a kid, it was probably the weirdest car ride I've ever taken in my life. But, I mean,
Like
she
how
was
old were you at this time?
probably going to say around 4.
Oh,
Probably around 4 years
so
old.
young.
Yeah, very young. Yeah. And for some reason, these are the only things from that time that really stand out to me. A couple other memories of her like whooping me and stuff like that. But I mean, the memories I have are small and fragmented, but the ones that were the most traumatic are the ones I remember the most. I remember one time the guy that was staying at the house, he wanted a beer. And I went to get it out of the fridge for him. I dropped it. My dad had just got me this puppy. And I dropped the beer broke. He gets mad, pulls out a gun and shoots the dog. I mean, it sounds so ridiculous. It really does, and it's crazy looking back on it now. As I've grown older and as become an adult, like I look back on these things and go, my God, like, I mean, I've been addicted to drugs before, but I have never like that. It was insanity. It was pure insanity. I remember one time she had a party at the house. I got the phone and called my dad because I got locked in my closet of my bedroom. Dad says when he got there was drugs all in the house. People were partying. And when he finally found me, I was in my bedroom closet, locked in it because there were people in my bed. So dad took me away. And then I want to say like a couple of days later, like dad came to really get me. And pretty much I remember my mom and my aunt got into a fight. And my aunt now, she was old school redneck woman. I mean, 250, 300 pounds of animal. And my mom was like 350 pounds. And I remember my aunt grabbed her by the hair and like spun her around and picked her feet up off the ground and threw her. And my aunt was a champ. But she didn't play behind me. Dad's side of the family fought for me at the time, and my mom, she just went down a road that she just couldn't come back from at the time. I look back on it now, and I can't judge her for it. I can't get mad at her for it because I've been down that road as well, just a little bit different than what she went through. But I've forgiven her. We've moved past all of it. My dad had horrible taste in women at the time because the next woman that he got with, she was emotionally abusive, like mentally and emotionally abusive. She would make me sleep on the covers. You could not get underneath the blanket. You had to sleep on your back straight. Like you couldn't get underneath the covers. You couldn't roll on your side. You couldn't get on your stomach. She was crazy. Dad finally got away from her eventually. He met this woman. He was working at Sears at the mall. He was working at Edgewater Mall in Gulfport, and he was working at night because he was a reserve officer some nights, and he worked at Sears the other nights. I mean, he worked daylight to dark. I barely saw him. When I did, it was awesome. So he met a woman named Debbie Brown, and she practically raised me from that moment till I was 18. But we moved up to Kilburn, Louisiana, and that's when things really kind of
How did she
changed.
treat you?
She was great. She was great then. Kind of more toward the time before I graduated high school, she was getting older and things were going on in her life, and I I don't. She always took care of me. I'll say that. She always loved me. She always took care of me. I didn't go without. I mean, she made sure that I had the things that I needed. She was strict as well about certain things, but only if I crossed that line. I mean, her family took me in. My memaw, my papaw. My papaw, he's passed away now. He's one of the main reasons why I joined the military later on in life. But that's when I first got introduced to God. We grew up literally right across the street was Kilburn First Baptist Church. And so I started going there as a kid. Bernard Duchesne, he was the pastor at the time. Great man, great man. But we went to church there, and that whole environment at the time was great. I started going to Kilburn Elementary or Kilburn High School, small town school. It was a big culture shock, though, to go from the Mississippi Gulf Coast to the backwoods of Louisiana. You went from living in a massive city to now I live in a town of like 500 people, if that. It was a lot different. It was a lot different. So it took a little bit to fit in. And I
So
kept trying to find.
How old were you whenever y'all moved to Kilburn?
I was 7 years old.
Your- Have you seen your mom since?
She disappeared out of my life. When Dad took me away, he got custody. And then my two sisters, we have different dads, but their dad gave her $100 a piece to sign over her rights, and she signed her rights over and left. But so she left out of. She came back into my sister's lives a little bit earlier than mine because they all lived down there. She didn't come back into my life probably till I was like 12. So it took a while for her to come back around. The only reason that they allowed her to come back around was because she had cleaned her life up and she was doing better. And I mean, she had lost like a massive amount of weight. She was like, oh God, she was probably, man, she had to be like 90 pounds when I saw her. I mean, she was tiny. She was tiny.
From 350 pounds to 90 pounds?
Yeah, she
Holy
was
cow.
married to this guy. She was married to this guy. He was a Marine, but he was kind of a control freak. So like he would control what she ate, what she did.
So at that time, did you go and visit her and stuff?
She came once up here, and then we went down there one time. And then my sister
And
graduated in huh?
how was that? Were you scared or were you excited to see
No,
her?
no, it's kind of indifferent. I wasn't excited, but I wasn't scared. I was just kind of like, all right. I was more excited to see the other people in my family than I was her. Me and her still now to this day don't talk. Like we don't have that relationship. That's just I've forgiven her, but I can I'm not going to. I can't find that emotional connection anymore. It's almost like after so long, you get abused for so long, and you're disconnected for so long. Eventually, that tie severs. Will we ever mend our relationship? I don't know. At this point in time, that's not even really a focus of mine. And I know
Yeah.
it's probably sad to
Well,
say.
you
I know it's probably
forgiven.
sad to say, but yeah, I mean, I forgave her. I did drugs too. I mean, I fell off an
Yeah.
addiction pretty hard, and I know what it can do and not do to you. So we got to kind of back that train up a little bit. 98, I started having mental issues. And 98 was the time that the whole ADHD thing was really starting to boom, right? Doctors were handing out medicines left and right. Kids were going into mental hospitals and behavioral units left and right. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies and the hospital companies and insurance, they were raking these parents and families across the coals and making money at the time. Um, so I got caught up in that, and I went to two mental hospitals at first. And the one I went to wasn't like no regular mental hospital. It was
At
Central
8 years
Louisiana State
old.
Hospital at 8 years old. Old school. This is where they first did electroshock therapy and the lobotomy therapy in Louisiana was at that hospital a long time ago. I mean, yeah, you had criminally insane. You had just, you had the children's unit. I mean, anyway. It was. that was a weird one there for me. But I went to that one twice, and then I went to a place in Alexandria called Crossroads. I went there twice. I went to I went to those twice. ADHD and behavioral problems. Like I would just act out. And for me, in my opinion, that's probably the biggest load of crock I've ever heard in my life. Putting a kid in a mental hospital for that. It wasn't like I was experiencing like paranoia or delusions or schizophrenia or nothing like that. It was literally ADHD and behavioral problems. Like I have my old file somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but it literally that's all it states in there: ADHD and behavioral problems. And like so, I went to those
So
mental
what?
hospitals.
How did you go into those mental hospitals? To,
No, God no. If anything, it made it worse. Now, as a kid, I've been away from my family and friends for so long. Now, when I come back, I'm starving for attention, right? So,
like, how
and
long were you in
then
the mental hospitals?
I put from 8 years old to the age of 13 or 14. I was home for a full probably year.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the big ice storm back in 2000.
Yeah.
So I was there at that time. I'd actually came home on pass because it was Christmas and New Year's. I came home on pass and it froze. Then as soon as it thawed out, I had to go back. Like it was crazy. And we had, I mean, that, and then
So how
I
did
went
that?
to,
How did that work? You would go, and then you'd come back home, and if you did
yeah,
something, acted out, you'd have to go back.
yep, pretty much. I went to 3 group homes. And then they have a place called LTI. It's Angola for teenagers. I went there and I was there for probably 6 months. I ended up in New Orleans. That was the first time I ever saw somebody get killed. I mean, it was insane. It was crazy. Yeah, we were in Pill Call line. And I remember the guy. The guy's name was Emmanuel Narcisse. He was from New Orleans. He was kind of roasting this guard pretty hard. And the guard hit him in the face. And when Emmanuel went down, he busted his head open on the back of the concrete and bled out. I got questioned by the
And like,
FBI.
at how old?
Emmanuel was probably 16, I think. I think the report said he was 16 or 17. I was uh I was I was 12 or 13. It was insanity. But yeah, he died, and the FBI. This is the first time I ever met the FBI, U.S. Marshals, state police. Like they all questioned me. I was 12 years old and went in front of a grand jury to give my statement about what happened. Now I look back on it now. I'm like, how can you? How did you put me in front of a grand jury? You never even got my parents' permission for this or nothing. Times were different back then too. I got out, went to a group home in Baton Rouge, and I was in that group home for probably a year and a half. And I got the only reason I got out when I did from there was because I got pretty much beat to death by a guard. I got beat so bad that if you ever seen when you squeeze and your face gets these little blood spots when like air gets cut off to your face. So if you get air and blood flow cut off to your head long enough and enough pressure's put on your head, you'll start to get these little things, these little blood spots, because your little small blood vessels will start bursting in your face. I got to the hospital and I looked in the mirror. It looked like somebody took a pin and just sat there and made little dots all over my face, and it was just all over my face. So they let me out. I don't even think that guy ever went to jail or nothing. He should have though. But I got home, and that's when the
What
next
was
four
that
years.
over? You remember?
So there was this woman that worked there who would yell at you, cuss you out. And, she told me to do something. I said something back to her. She went to go yelling and crazy. She slapped me across the face, grabbed me, and was like trying to, get me to go down the stairs. And I did not want to go down the stairs. She was trying to yank and push me down, and I grabbed her and threw her down the stairs. I mean, I'm not going down the stairs, So I threw her down the stairs, and then that guy came in and beat the dog brakes off me. I'm on hardwood floor. I'm on my stomach on the hardwood floor, and he's got his knee put in my head right here. So he's got me pushed down right here, and like it's cutting blood flow off to my head. And the blood that's in my head is starting to pressurize because all my crazy. I mean, it was busting little tiny blood vessels all. So they let me out. I go home, and then for 4 years I stayed at home. 4 years consecutively. I started farming with a man named Don Doles out of Jones. My teacher at the time, anyway, God rest his amazing. He was a huge inspiration, and he was like, "Hey man, he's got it. He some help on a farm. Do you?" So started working for a man named Don Dole in the summer months, and that was probably some of the best times of my life. I started kind of digging a little bit deeper into faith, but I didn't. I still didn't know. I mean, as a young kid, it's hard to know unless you got somebody that is there to disciple you.
The man who was kind of mentoring you, was he a Christian?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a Christian. So trailer, he was actually a pastor at a church, and Don was one of the people in the congregation, and Mr. Don was great. He would and tell me about God, and we'd ride in the tractor together, and he was talking to me and asking me about really discipled. I essentially gave him the answers I thought he wanted to hear. I didn't take in what I thought. Looking back on it now, I wish I would have took in what he was telling me, but it was going in one ear out the other. I was more worried about getting paid, going to the movie, having
How
fun.
did all of that you had gone through up to this point, how did it affect your self-esteem and the way you saw yourself?
First, I always try to be somebody because I always needed attention. Because I always wanted, I would start fights for no reason. I would act a tough guy. I would, smoke cigarettes because I thought it was cool. Or, I'd have a pack of cigarettes or tobacco on me. I'd, sneak a bottle of alcohol into the school. I would do stupid stuff like that thinking, oh, well, these kids, we're going to fit in. We're going to have fun. We're going to be cool, man. And looking back on it now, and I was like, but I was essentially trying to be somebody I wasn't because I didn't think that that who I was good enough for them. And that still is a problem today. I still have that issue. I mean, I don't do stupid stuff like that anymore, but I still do and say certain things. I catch myself sometimes thinking that I'm not good enough, or I'm fat, or I don't look good. My cheeks are all swollen. This stupid mustache ain't working. I find little things to criticize myself on. So I was very critical. I was always uncomfortable in my own skin because it was never affirmed to me growing up that I was good enough as who I was. It was always something's wrong with you. You have you have behavioral problems. You've done this. It was never told to me at any time that I was good enough. It was always you're not good enough. Something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. So after so long, like that's going to become pretty a habitual thought, and it's going to sink its
Yeah,
teeth in you, and it's just going to take you for a ride that you're not prepared. But
right.
growing up, I got into sports, played baseball, loved it, did track. I know you can't tell it now, but this guy used to be a bit of an athlete. I ran the 1 mile, the 2 mile. I ran the 800-meter dash. I threw shot put, and I played baseball. I sucked at every single one of them, but I did it. No, I mean I was decent at baseball. Shot put I was okay at. You might be surprised the 800-meter dash. I was actually decent at the 800-meter and the 400. I ran the 400 one time. I was decent in both of those. The 1 mile and the 2 mile, I don't know who thought to make me do that, but I was absolute trash at it. There was one time we're in Delhi. We're at a track meet in Delhi, and you got the home stands, right? You got the home stands, and then around here the visitor side, especially these small schools, the visitor side always had the crappy bleachers and stuff like that. So here
Yeah.
I am, I'm running. I do my first lap around. I'm starting to get tired. I'm like, God, I would get behind those bleachers, and I didn't think they could see me, and I would stop and I'd walk it off, and then I'd take back off running. And we get done, and my track coach is like, Eric, I watched you every time just stop and bend over behind the bleachers. And I'm like, oh crap, you saw me? He's like, dude, we can see right through them. But anyways, I did that, and then I knew the one thing that I always wanted to do was join the military. My grandfather, my Peppo Brown, my Peppo Brown was a two-time Purple Heart awardee, and he got the so obviously growing up, like you look at these medals and you go, this is what I want to do. I mean, he was in World War II, Vietnam, and I mean, he was in three of the most major conflicts of and survived. He would never talk about it. Like I could never get anything out of him. The only thing I knew was that he was mechanized infantry, and then he did cavalry for a little bit. Yeah, he was cavalry scout or something for a little bit. mechanized cavalry, something like that. I can't remember. But so he was in the thick of it, regardless. Now he was in the Army and the Navy. So he went into, I want to say he went into the Army and then retired out of the. So at the time, you could transfer from the Army to the Navy and not have to go through the Navy's basic training because the Army's was so much stronger. So you would transfer from the Army to the Navy. Your rank would transfer with you, and he was on a boat in for a while, or it might have been the other way around. It may have been the other way around. He may have went in the Navy in World War II, and then because I want to say he was, oh, man, I can't remember. Anyway, it was one of those. But I know he was, but he passed away back in 2000. One of the greatest people I ever knew, and he was the only man on the face of the planet who would mow his yard 3 times a week. Who mows the yard 3 times? And growing up, he was like, "Hey, Eric, you've got to mow this side of the grass this way. You got to mow this side of the grass this way. You got to do this side of the grass." And like you had to be exact. Like you had to weed eat a certain way. You had to edge a certain way. And immaculate. I mean, immaculate. And then as he got older, you quickly realized, okay, Pepaw, you're starting to lose it now because you're killing the yard. Like the yard. But he instilled work ethic. So I joined the Army when I was
Was he
between
your mom's dad or your dad's dad?
my stepmom's dad,
Okay.
the stepmom that raised me. Yeah, up in Kilburn. My mom's dad, my pawpaw Doc, he's probably one of the most beloved people I had in my life. I didn't know he suffered with alcoholism, but I remember growing up in D'Iberville, Mississippi, or Ocean or D'Iberville. Well, he lived in Latimer at the time. Latimer's a little country area north of Gulf. I remember growing up, he had a big garden in the back. Like he lived out in the country, big old self-sustaining garden. He had this old Ford pickup that he would drive, and he would literally drive 10 miles an hour everywhere. He drove like 10 miles. So it would take you an hour to go. It was crazy. He taught me how to garden. He had roosters that I was definitely afraid of growing up because they tried to attack me. Um, he was an amazing cook, but he was also he was in the Navy a long time ago. I think he was like a like some kind of, I can't remember what it was, nuclear something in the Navy at the time. I don't know
So
if he worked on nuclear.
why do you think, what caused your mom's trauma for her to act like the way she did?
You know what, she was a bigger woman. I honestly think her weight probably played a bigger part in it than you may think. Her and dad, and now she's trying to find love again or find something again. And she found drugs. It's hard to speculate because I mean, the early '90s was a crazy time. The early '90s, you're coming out of the '80s. The '80s was hair bands, rock and roll, and cocaine. That was the '80s.
Yeah.
Um,
So you don't think that she went through anything that caused, like as a child, or her parents were abusive also, or anything like that?
if she did, she never told me, and I've never asked either. I've never asked, and that's a good point. Maybe I should ask. Maybe I should go, "Hey, mom, what made you do that?" You know, will I get a straight answer? I don't know. Yeah,
Okay, so
and
you
maybe that's
go.
just you know.
Maybe that's just what.
Oh, maybe it's an old wound that I just don't need to reopen. Maybe it just needs to
Yeah,
stay.
probably.
But yeah, so I joined the Army. I go to Fort Benning, Georgia, and let me tell you how my life goes, Bill. This is how life is. So we go to the MEPS, and MEPS is the Military Entrance Processing Station. Well, the night before you go to MEPS, they put you in this hotel in Jackson because I lived this direction, so I went to Jackson for MEPS because my recruiter was out of. So I go to Jackson. Jackson puts you in the Marriott, which is nice. They got a whole 2 floors just for the MEPS. So I'm in the Marriott. I'm thinking, oh man, I done made it. I'm living big time. I'm in the Marriott. I'm drinking root beer out of champagne glasses. So they have an area where the pool is. The pool is up on like the 13th floor or something, you know, overlooking the city. And we're all up there. We're all cutting up. We're having fun. We're swimming. We got beer. We done snuck beer up there. We're drinking. And everybody's talking about, you know, what basic training they're going to go to. And like, they're like, man, like, I hope I go to Fort Jackson. I hope I go to Fort Leonard Wood. I hope I go to Fort Sam Houston, or I hope I go here. And they were, man, the one place you don't want to go, though, is Fort Benning. And I'm like, oh, man, that would suck. I don't want to go to Fort Benning. I was one of two that went to Fort Benning. That day, two of us got sentenced to Fort Benning. And I was like, great. That just sucked. But it's so, and I'm kind of glad I went to Benning, though, because Benning is one of those places they're gonna expose your weaknesses really, because it's the home of the infantry, it's the home of the Rangers, it's the home of airborne. Like, this is where your beasts are. This is where your beasts live. You know, this is where the top dogs, when it comes to combat, this is where they go through. So I'm at Fort Benning, Sand Hill, Delta 347. Man, go to Death Dealers. But it was me, another buddy of mine from Oak Grove, and then another buddy of mine from Oak Grove. So it was actually worked out because, like, I was there with people I knew. There was a guy from Bastrop. He was there. Me and him became friends. So it was weird that I went there because I had people around me that I knew. We were all in the same companies. You know, my two buddies were in different platoons because of our last names, but I mean, we were all right there. But it was fun. It was a time. I found out really quick. The one thing that I'm really good at is learning how to kill people. I was good on a rifle. I was, you know, good at hand-to-hand combat. I was good at you know, pulling security. I was good at being. I was good at it, but the problem I was still having was Eric still wanted to do what Eric wanted. So I'll give you an example. While I'm at basic, I've always been a hustler, Bill. I've always been a hustler. I'm always going to find a way to make. Well, they have what's called a training PX, right? And somehow it's right across the street from my barracks. Well, when you go to sit call, they don't take you anywhere. You have to walk there yourself. You got to walk like 4 miles up the road to get to sit call. Well, you pass right by that training PX to go to sit call. Well, when you're in basic, you have these things called camelbacks, and camelbacks are essentially a hydration pack that you wear like a backpack, and it's got a bladder in it, and it's got water in it. Got your little, you know, drink a little water, but it has a pocket on it that's perfect for. So I go to the training PX. I bought like 3 or 4 Playboys and Hustlers. I bring them back to the barracks, and I'm slicing pages out, and I'm selling pages for $5 a piece. Yeah, needless to say, about 2 weeks in, I got busted. I made a bunch of money off these magazines, and I got busted. And let me tell you something. That was probably the most embarrassing thing ever. When the drill sergeant walks away from your locker and he's got these things, and he goes, "My God, Freeman, what have you done to these magazines?" Because like all the pages are missing out of it. But I got in trouble for that. But it was funny though, because you get to a certain point in the military where you kind of realize, like, all right, I need to stop doing what I want to do and do what they tell me to do. Because if I keep doing what I want to do, I'm cycling through the same consequences every time. And I've translated that into my walk now, because, like, do I want to keep doing the same thing I want to do and keep cycling through the same consequences? Or do I want to just stop being what I want to be and be what God? So that's why I brought that up, because they in my way of thinking. But yeah, like I had a fun time. It was great. I was good at being a soldier. I get out. I get out of basic and I go to Fort Leonard Wood. And well, no, I graduated my senior year. I graduated. Then I left for Fort Leonard Wood. I got married at a young age. I got married at like 19 or 18.
So how old were you whenever you went through basic?
I was 17 and I turned 18 while I was in basic. So they have what's called split ops, where you can join and go to basic between your junior and senior year, and then when you graduate, you leave for your AIT. You know, after your senior year, and then that's when you get placed. And I knew, because I had to join a reserve unit to do that, but I knew that as soon as I finished AIT, that I was going to go active duty, because like I didn't want to stick around in a reserve unit, and unfortunately, I never got the chance to do that. Let me get something to drink real quick, Bill. I never got the chance to do that, unfortunately. So that's. So, I mean, that's when things kind of really fall off. I got married at a young age, and I don't know. That was the first time that I ever thought I was in love, but I wasn't prepared to be a husband. I wasn't prepared. I was still stuck in party mode. Like when I would go to my every month, my God, I would party like it ain't nobody's business. Like I have woken up covered in green throw up. I have woken up in a hallway of the hotel. I've had the hotel call my unit and say, "Hey man, like y'all got to do something about him. He's partying." It was crazy. I mean, that'd be a night of drinking. The inventory room of, or the inventory room of the unit. Like I'd be in there sawing logs. Knock. I mean, that's what really started to kind of kick off that party lifestyle for me. So at the time, I got introduced to coke. Uh, when I would smoke weed, snort coke, drink. We had this club, like where our hotel was, and I look at things now and I go, man, like it feels like the universe was against me, but at the same time, I still made the decisions I made. But like my unit was not, my unit wasn't the right unit for me. I mean, heck, my first sergeant sold weed. I mean, it was not the kind of unit that like, because for me, I need to be in a discipline, and it was not that. It was the complete opposite of that. So it gave me the room to do what I wanted. And our hotel was like literally right beside our hotel was one, two, three, four, 5 bars right beside the hotel. Because like we stayed at the Comfort in Greenville, Mississippi, and on Walnut Street right there, you had one, two, three, four. Yeah, you had 5 bars right there. So like, I'd go hit one, get thrown out of it, go across the street, the other, get thrown out of it. You know, I mean, it was just it was an endless cycle. It was. I'm telling you, I smoked a pack of, like when I would go, I would party so hard I'd smoke a pack of cigarettes in like an hour. How my lungs are still breathing today, I don't know. Like I should be on a ventilator. But I partied. I mean, I thought I had it all.
So they didn't ever drug test y'all or anything?
God no. If they had drug tested us, the whole unit would have got in trouble. I
Oh,
mean, dudes would smoke weed at the unit. I mean, it was, yeah. You'd go out the wrong back door and you'd walk into a wall of just smoke and be like, all right, I'm going back in. Like it was crazy. But I was a lot worse though because like I would drink till like 4:35 in the morning and have to be up at the unit in formation at 6. I wouldn't show up to the unit till like 11. You miss first formation, like you're so like I got wrote up. I got Article 15 so many times. I never had a UCMJ though. Like I never had to go in front of a court or nothing like that. But the unit before I got kicked out of the army, the unit was at a point of going like, hey, like we're about to put you in rehab. Like we're going to put you in rehab. If you don't complete rehab, you're going to be kicked out of the army. If you do complete it, great. We did the right thing. But if you don't, like you're out of here. It was the VA had already like set it up for me to go to rehab and everything. But I got kicked out before that ever happened. But I got kicked out because that's a whole different story.
so
But
what happened?
I got a felony. I got a felony charge. I got charged. So I was 19 at the time. The girl was 16. Nothing happened between us. Like literally nothing happened. Like even now, like my ex, she had texted the girl when me and her first got together. I'm gonna ask her, hey, like what is this about you and Eric? Yada yada yada. And like I showed her screenshots of things that the girl said about me. And then because like the girl accused me of raping her and all this other stuff. Well, she tells my ex that, oh, he only touched me on my butt, yada yada yada. Well, my ex is like, well, hey, which one is it? Because I got screenshots here of you having a conversation with somebody saying you raped him or that he raped you, and now you're just telling me he touched you on the butt. Like, which one is it? She was lying. I mean, she lied on me, but I was an idiot and didn't listen to my lawyer. My lawyer was like, hey, like, because I'd been in jail for about 3.5 months. I was ready to go home. Like, I was ready to go. I didn't have the money to bond out. I'm I'm broke as hell. Oh, excuse me. I was broke as all heck, Bill. And so I didn't have money to bond out. 3.5 months. We go, so you go for your arraignment, and then you go for a plea bargain. And my
Well,
lawyer's like, hey,
what was your family doing while you were
nothing,
in the
absolutely,
hospital, while
absolutely
you were in
nothing.
jail?
Yeah, they were doing
Your
absolutely
wife
nothing.
and son, kid.
Yeah, they were doing. She left me. She started dating some other guy when I was in jail. Yeah. She left me. Like everybody pretty much turned their back on. My parents even believed it. But now, like the girl has like come out now, like okay, like all that was made up. Like she's apologized, her family's apologized, but there's nothing that can be done because like we're at plea bargain, and my lawyer's like, hey, look, you're gonna sit in jail for another month and a half. I need you to sit in jail for another month and a half, and then when you come back to court, I'm gonna have all this taken care of and dropped. I've just got to get like So today you're gonna plead not, and you're gonna stay in jail for another month and a half, and then when we come back to court, everything will be done, and you can walk free. And I'm like, no. I'm 19 years old. I'm like, no, I'm not sitting in jail for another month and a half. And the lawyer's like, dude, you have got to sit in jail for another month and a half. I'm like, why? I'm like, because he's like, well, they're offering you probation today. I'm like, well, I'm gonna take probation. He's like, dude, whatever you do, do not do that. And I'm like, why? He goes, because there's a lot more that comes with that instead of just, and it's gonna stick with you for a long time. And I was like, dude, I'm not worried about that. I just want to go. Well, 15 here we are, still in the same pickle. I'm fighting it now, thank God, to get it taken off my. But yeah, for 15 years, I had to go on a list on the internet and have my picture in the paper and all. Listen, I wanted to do what Eric wanted to do. I didn't listen to the wisdom
Man,
that
that's
was around.
embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. I mean, right now I'm a single dad. Like my son goes to elementary school, and like these parents are like, "Hey, man, like what's going on?" I want to like stand up and go, "Hey, this is what happened." I mean, what's it going to change? Perception. T.S. Eliot said it best: "Perception is reality." T.S. Eliot said, "Perception is reality." No matter what you did or didn't do, it's what people think you did that drives what their belief in. What their belief in you is driven by how they look at you and what they think about you. So their reality of me is what they're going to think of me, regardless of what I say, anyways. So let them think it. I don't care. At right now, it is what it is. A few months from now, I'll be a free man. I'm gonna be a free man in a few months. So,
So
as of right,
you ended up getting out, getting probation, having to go on the sexual offender list.
so for 6 months I was out and that's when I found out. That's when and I really didn't use it like I found out what it was, but I think I like seen. But I was still partying. Like we were partying it. There was one time for like we would wake up drinking, go to. I mean, it was continuous. I mean, my liver probably hardened at about 50%. But we
Did you have
partied
a
like
relationship with your Did you have a relationship with your kid at all?
no. I when I got out, I tried to make those steps because she had got pregnant right before I got put in jail. She got pregnant again. I have 2 kids by her. She got pregnant, and like when I got out, like it was over with. I mean, she's hard headed and stubborn. Like she believed what everybody. I mean, I didn't do anything to change her mind either. I kept going back to being what Eric wanted to be, regardless of what responsibility. And that's what I did. I went to partying, women. I mean, it was a blur. I can tell you that. But I remember 6 months. Me and my buddy are staying in a camper at a place called the Lingo Center in Oak Grove. They have a little RV park right next to it, and we got a little camper park there, and that's where we're staying at for the time being. And I remember because I wasn't reporting into my probation. I wasn't living where I was supposed to live. Like I just did what I want. I pretty much said forget all of it. Just did what I wanted to do. I remember I was outside of the camper. I was doing something, and like this cop pulls up. He's an old man. He's probably I don't know, and he waves me over. And he goes, "Hey man, do you know a guy named Eric Freeman?" And I'm like, "Nope." I was like, "Sure don't." He said, "Yeah, well, he's got a warrant out for his arrest. I'm looking for him. I said, well, if I find a guy named Eric Freeman, I'll let you know. So he leaves, and I'm like, oh crap, here we go. So I run inside, and I'm throwing some stuff in the bag. I'm just getting what I can out of there. I'm calling somebody, hey, come get me. And like before that person, my buddy goes up, he's back, and I look outside, and the guy's pulling back up, and he's got a picture of me on a piece of paper. And he goes, hey, why'd you lie to me? He goes, just stay right there. I'm gonna call back up to come arrest you. And I'm running, and it's a big open field between the RV park and the highway, and I'm trying to get across this field as fast as I can. I get over the highway, I see all the patrol car coming down the hill, and I cross the highway, and they got an old like cannery or something, old cannery or something right here. And my plan is to get back off in these woods back there, and like just. But I'm also one of my other plans is like I know there's a National Guard unit back there, and they got a bunch of trucks, and I know where all the hiding spots are in these trucks. I can just open the door, crawl in, and hide. Well, apparently the guy in the cop car was like part Greyhound, I think. I don't know. All I know is like when he got out of the car, he was a good probably football field behind me. I'm running, and I could hear him, and he is running. And I look back about 10 seconds later, and he's like right there. And then all of a sudden, he's yelling. I get tased. I'm on the ground. He arrests me. I go to jail for about three. Oh, actually, not 3.5 months, 3 years. I was in jail, and
3 years.
yeah, prison. Actually, I was in prison. I went from West Carroll to Morehouse to Union, to David Wade, and then to maximum security over in Bossier. Then they transferred me down to medium security. They transferred me to Franklin Parish, and I finally came home on January the 1st, 2000. So I was there. That was a crazy time. That was one of those where I got stabbed. I got to a bunch of fights. Like it was intense. It was, and I'm living with my dad, and so in between the time, I mean,
What was the craziest thing you saw in prison?
craziest thing at that time that I've seen some dudes get stabbed. I've seen a bunch of people. That's really about the craziest thing I saw. Yeah,
That's pretty crazy.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty. I heard some crazy stories. I had a guy. I was in Bastrop with him, or Morehouse. His name was Nathan Pettit, and he was telling me a story. He was in Angola, and he was telling me a story like they were going out to work, and you would stop by this tool shed and you'd get tools out before you go out in the field. And apparently, two of the guys were like beefing with each other, and the guy took a pickaxe and hit him in the top of the head with a pickaxe. And he said when he pulled the pickaxe out, like blood just shot like 40 feet in the air. Yeah, that's crazy. That's yeah. But I at that point in time didn't see anything crazy. Like I said, people getting stabbed though is pretty insane. Um, that's a pretty crazy one. So I get out
Yeah.
January 1st, and but so I forgot to mention that during basic training, my dad left my stepmom and got with a new lady named Michelle. Michelle's an amazing person, awesome person. But they got together and got married. So when I got out of prison in January of 14, I went and stayed with them for a few weeks. I started working at a little Mexican restaurant in Oak Grove. I finally moved into my own house. I was doing decent. I didn't have no vehicle. I was having to bum rides and things like that. But like I had my own house. I paid my own bills. I bought my own food. And I was there, and I left there, and then where did I go when I left there? I think I went to stay with my brother in Mississippi in Winona, because Michelle has a son. I went and stayed there in Winona for a while with him, um, and then left there, came back to Louisiana. I stayed in a little town called Epps. Stayed on what they call the back street, which is the street in the back, pretty much. I mean, their little version of a hood. Stayed back there for a while. And then that's when I met this woman, and that's when we started doing meth. And that's when I figured out to use meth with a needle. And that's when things really, really went downhill. When I found that what using meth with a needle was, that's when things really started to get. She shot me. She tried to set me on fire. She tried to stab me. She tried to run me over. But yeah, so I lived with her. She was, but she would break into house and steal the most menial crap you've ever seen in your life, and would put it in her house. And like, I didn't know the cops were looking for her. I didn't know she was even in trouble. And then I got arrested. And they were questioning me about her. And they're like, "Hey, like you tell us everything on her, like we'll let you go." And I'm like, "I'm not telling y'all nothing. Like I don't know." So they locked me up and charged me with the same thing they charged her with, because they called me a principal to the crime. They said you knew it was happening, you didn't report it. That makes you as guilty as she is, which is totally crazy to me. But whatever. So I did 3.5 years in prison. Then, like I said, I just got shot back in January. She shot me. She shot me back in January. No, she shot me. Yeah, she shot me in January, like the beginning of January.
But she
I
didn't
went to
go to
prison.
jail for for shooting you and stuff.
No, I was on the run. No, heck no, I was on the run. I knew, like if I went to the hospital, like it was over with. I just ate a bunch of pain pills. I cleaned it up, doctored it up. Well, she cleaned it up, doctored it up. I ate a bunch of pain pills and passed out. Like
Well, what were you on the
yeah.
run from then?
Well, so I had found out that the cops were looking. I knew they were looking. I didn't know what it was about, though. I didn't know it was about her at all. I just heard they were looking for me. So I was like, "No, I'm staying away." For the next month, I stayed in the house like all the time. And she was off doing drugs with who knows where, doing who knows what.
Do you think that your choice in hooking up with her had anything to do with your childhood and your mom and all that?
I don't know. I don't. I know what the reason. I know the reason why I hooked up with her, and I don't think this is the podcast that we need to talk about that. It's not the kind of podcast we need to discuss that. So I had met her. I was on the fire department in Ipps, and her front porch had caught on, and that's how I met her. And we started talking like an hour after I left the scene. Like it turned into what it turned into. And I had my reasons, two really big reasons. Uh, but so that was crazy. That was a crazy time though. Insane because she was married. Like her husband worked for Exxon or Chevron. Her husband worked for Chevron. He made like $700 a day working for Chevron. Like they were loaded, they were loaded. But I don't know. Somehow I slipped in the back door, and I would stay there while he was off working. And but yeah, started using meth really hard. I mean, we were using hard. God. But so I'm in the shower one day. She runs in there. She goes, "Hey, there's cops outside." There's like 5 cop cars pulling up. And I'm like, well, they kicked the door and they got like eight, and they're all drawn. Like they find me and they drew down on me. Like they're handcuffed me. They walked me out. I find out why they wanted me was to try and get to her, because apparently she had a laundry list of offenses. But I didn't turn on her, so they put me in jail. I sat in prison for 3.5 years. I keep saying 3.5 months. 3.5 years. All of it was in East Carolina, and it was at that time that things really kind of changed, because I was like, okay, like I'm tired of going to prison, tired of going to jail. Like I'm tired of living this life. Like I'm sick of it. Like I'm literally sick of living this life. And that's when I finally decided, like, you know what? It's time to just stop doing what I want to do and let's try something. But I was still trying to hold on to control at the same time of wanting to do something different. So I got out April the 1st, 2020. And that's when I started doing air conditioning work. I worked for a guy named Lawrence Jones out of out of Oak Grove, Louisiana. Moved into his guest house. Like he taught me a whole new way of living. Like he taught me that, hey, you don't have to keep living like you're in prison. Like you can live like and but that's when my pride really started to crank up then, because I got a nice vehicle now, nice clothes, I make good money. Like I thought I was the man, and that's when my pride really started to crank up. And it was at this time that I met a woman. To this day, she is still the absolute love of her name's Misty Sykes or Misty Brantley. She is the she's my person. She's my other half. She is my best friend. She's the love of my life. Even though I've ruined that relationship, uh, she's still the person I would. So, but it was funny. I still remember that. There's a little place in Oak Grove called Jesse's Sitco, it's one of the last few places you can get gas where they actually pump your gas. And it was the funniest thing. Lauren had these big, massive diesel trucks for work. So we pull up to get fuel, and like we pull up, big diesel truck, like what this truck takes, like it takes diesel. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat, got the window rolled down, and I hear this woman go, "Hey, what do you want me to put in it?" And I'm like, why would you even ask that? And I turn around. Let me tell you something, Bill. I've never believed in love at first. Never believed in it. I thought it was the biggest hoax. When I saw that woman smile back at me, it changed my. She's amazing. But like I said, I messed that up. But that's for on.
So
Um.
did up to this point, did you have any contact with your kids?
No. So when I when I went through all the prison and all this stuff, like I mean, I have contact with them now. It's not as consistent as I wish it would be, but um,
Like how old
she's
are they now?
16 and 15, or 15 and 14. Hey, let me see. Jacob was born in 2009. Yeah, Jacob was born in September of 2009, and then Connor was born in December of 2010. So Connor is 15. He'll be 16 this year. So yeah, Jacob's 16. Connor. Yeah. Wow. Jesus Christ. But but yeah. No, I didn't have contact. I mean, and I don't blame her. She was Trudy, my ex-wife Trudy. She was trying to protect the children, and she still didn't know. Okay, has Eric changed his life, or is he just telling people he changed his life? Is he going to go back to prison in a couple months, or is he not going to go back to prison in a couple months? So like they had to protect, and I understand it now that I've matured. Like you had to make sure that hey, you don't make them fall in love with a man who's going to go back to prison and break their heart 2 months later. So like you got to make sure that like he's going to be who he says he. I would think that now I've proved that, but still, I mean they even Jacob now like he's told me before like I don't want nothing to do with you, dude, and I get it. Like I get it. Like I wasn't there. Like I ruined everything. I get it. So
So when did you start turning your life around? As far as when did you have an experience with God
my first
while you were in
experience was,
prison?
I mean, I read the Bible. So I read the Bible twice, front to back. I couldn't tell you a thing. I don't remember it at all. I just read it because I thought that's what. And it didn't really do nothing. I prayed. I would always ask God for something though. It was never God, what can I do for you? It's what can you give me? Like get me out of here. Have somebody answer the phone. I wish somebody, I wish somebody would visit me. I need some money on my books. Like it was never thank you for waking me up for another day. It was never thank you for allowing me to survive this long. It was never thank you for saving my life. Like it was never a thank you. It was always hey, give me what I need or give me. And yet again, it came to Eric wanting to do it. So me and Misty have our relationship, and we split up after a while, and it was a bad break, and that's when I got into the. So I got into the car business, and I started boxing at this time too. I started getting in the gym, boxing, selling cars. To this day, people still bring my name up in the car business, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I wish you'd come back and work here." Like I was one of them people in the car business that like I would sell you the car, the wheels, the tires, the floor mats, everything. Like I sold vehicles. I made a lot of money. My first week in the car business, Bill, I took home $8,000. Like my first week in the car, I took home $8,000, and I thought, oh my God, you're a week. And I sold cars for years, and I was literally one of the best. But I started to think that that was. So my son Liam was born around this time. He was in. Wow, Liam was born in 20. So no, I got out of prison in 2019. The last time I got out of prison April 1st, 2019. Liam was born in 2020. So me and Liam. So I had Liam at the time, and like I neglected him too because I was making money.
Who's his mama?
His mama's passed away now. She died last year. But her name's Billie Jean Myers. She passed away in a car accident last year. Um, Me and him, like, I neglected him at first too, but I had never made money like this. I had never had this kind of lifestyle. So like I felt like having a kid was kind of like a burden of that lifestyle. Now I love my son. Don't get me wrong. I loved my son. I would go get my son. We would go do things. Like I was a good dad. But I would always like Misty would always watch him. I mean, she would as a baby, like he would go to her house. She's a great stepmother to him. I mean, he loves her to death. So
So did you and
Misty,
Misty get married?
no, God, no, I wanted to, but I'm kind of glad that we didn't because I didn't understand at the time what marriage really meant. All I knew is I wanted to be with her for the rest of my life, and like that was the way to have her in my life for the rest of my life. To this day, though, like I want her in my life. I just want her in my life. But the problem is, you can't want somebody in your life and then want to push them out of your life at the same time. They don't work. It's a double negative. It makes no. So I'm in the car business, and Misty texted me at one point, like 3 years later. Me and her reunited after a few years, and it was back and forth, back and forth. Me and her, like she would come stay for a while, leave, stay for a while, leave, and like I always thought she was the problem, but at the end of the day, it was me. Which I mean, we're not. She's not innocent in anything. Still, I was the problem. I got back on drugs, and I was using meth heavier than I was. I was doing probably an 8 ball every 2. I was taking that was a lot of drugs. 8 balls, three and a
And that
half
was the
grams.
money. That was with the
That,
money
yeah,
from selling cars.
car business. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I went through some drugs. Um, I remember she had left, and at the time I was driving a 2015 the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT, about 1,000 horsepower. It was a monster. And I remember she left, and I had just reached my end. And I took my vehicle, I parked it underneath a bridge, I ran a hose from the exhaust to the window, and I just sat. And somehow, where I'm and the bridge I'm talking about. So anybody from Richland Parish watches this video, they'll know exactly what bridge I'm talking about. The bridge is actually I-20, and the little back road is a small little gravel road that goes underneath it, right? And I pulled out underneath there, headlights off, got the hose to the window, and yet somehow Richland Parish in the middle of the night, Richland Parish. I wake up in the hospital. They send me to uh, places, crazy places, because I. So I sat there for 2 weeks. I got out. Me and her back and forth, and that just kept going on and on and on. I knew it was breaking me, but I did not pay attention to how much it was breaking her because it was breaking both. I never saw the tears because I was more worried about what I had going on in my life at the time. I never saw the pain, the tears, or what she was. I always thought she was wanting to go, be with other people, but the whole time she just wanted to get away from me because like I was in such a bad. October the 1st of 2023, I was done, and I knew I was going to make sure the way I'm gonna kill myself time, nobody's going to find me. Like nobody's going to find me. I call up my buddy, I get an 8 ball meth. I don't use the diabetic syringe. I actually go get a 3 milliliter syringe, and I broke the entire 8 ball in a bowl, and I pulled back the entire 8 ball in that 3 milliliter syringe, and I injected the entire thing in my arm right here. You can still kind of see the scar. I injected the entire, and for the next 12 hours, I laid on my floor, convulsing. I was blind. I was so high that I was blind. I couldn't see. I was convulsing, and I could literally feel myself dying. Like I could see my heart pushing out of my chest. Like that's how bad it was, and it was. I mean, it was bad. And I knew I was dying. Like I knew, like I was like, all right, I've accomplished my goal. But like the more that I felt my life slip out of my body, like the more terrified I got. And I'm here to tell you now, Bill, that is one of the most terrifying feelings you will ever feel in your life is yourself dying, and there's nothing you can. So I'm laying there, and eventually I pass out, and I thought I was dead, but I was just dreaming. But like I pass out, I wake up in my bed the next morning. I wake up the next morning completely sober. I don't know how, because I got high the morning of April 1st. Like, and I woke up at like 11 o'clock the next morning, and I woke up crying. I'm crying real bad. So kind of back up a little. When I got into boxing MMA, I met a guy by the name Quentin Henry. Uh, Quentin is one of my best friends. Like that is my brother right there. That is one of my. If I had a Mount Rushmore of best friends, like he's probably in the spot that George Washington's in. Like that's my best friend. And Quentin gave his life to Christ. You know, kind of towards the end of his career in bare knuckle, and we always looked up to that. Like we always, like the whole group looked up to that. And I remember texting him that morning. I said, dude, like I need to talk to you about something. And he's like, what's going on? I said, man, like I feel like something's missing out of my life. Like I want to talk about Jesus. And he's like, great. I'm glad we're having this conversation. He sent me a few scriptures. I told him I wanted to give my life to Christ. And he's like, hey man, like I love you, but I'm not the person to do that. And I was like, and I didn't know Quentin knew me better than I thought he did at the time, but he knew me a lot better than I thought he did. So he gives me the number to a guy named Corey Taylor. Everybody knows who Corey Taylor is around here within the team. But Corey was very patient. He listened to everything I had to say. He let me get my emotions out. And finally he was like, what, are you tired of doing what you want to do? Like, are you tired of being a drug addict? I'm like, yeah. And I gave my life to Christ on October 2nd at 2:30 p.m. on the phone with a guy. But to this day, Corey is like I know if I have questions or I have concerns, like I know I could call like my buddy Brad Bell. I can call Brad Bell. I can call Gene Ainsworth. Like, I can call these people that are like my found. But if I need correction or if I need conviction, Corey is going to somehow know that I'm going through something and contact me. Corey, I posted something funny on Facebook one day, and Corey calls me. He goes, "Hey Eric, that's not really about God. You need to take that down, bro. Delete it." That's back when I had social media. He was like, "You need to go ahead and delete it." And I was like, "All right, dude." So like, and I've always compared Brad to Brad. If Corey is like a hammer, God has like a. Corey's not the little claw hammer. Corey is the 16-pound sledgehammer that's leaned up against the wall behind the toolbox. Like that's what Corey is. He's a sledgehammer that God uses to just hit people in the face. And then like Brad's like the sand. He's like 1,000 grit sandpaper, man. Brad just kind of smooths out the edges of my walk. And then Gene, man, Gene's like the toolbox himself. I mean, he is a. I don't know if you know Gene Ainsworth. Great guy.
I
I think
probably
he
met
owns.
him, but
Yeah, he's one of my best friends. But me and him are kind of the
Gene's
same.
tire.
No,
Does
no,
he
no,
own an
no,
auto
no,
mechanics?
no. He owns a farm in Morehouse. He owns is it neighborhood? Oh, he's gonna. Oh, he's gonna get.
Mm.
Just to let you know, Gene, if you see this, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't remember the name. But he owns a pharmacy in Bastrop. I want to say it's like neighborhood pharmacy or something. No, Pierce. It's Pierce Pharmacy. I hope I'm right. God, I hope I'm right. But I want to say it's Pierce Pharmacy in more. But Gene is me and Gene are two of the same. But anyway, so I gave
So
my life to Christ.
how did you end up getting all these people in your life?
We'll dial back to Corey real quick. Corey goes, all right, man. I'm like, gave your life to Christ. He goes, what are you doing? Going to work. He said, what are you doing afterwards? I don't know. He says, do you want to come to a men's Bible study? I'm like, sure, why not? So I get there, and it's Brad Bell, Gene Ainsworth, who I was in that. Big David. I can't remember David's last name. There's Thomas Hale. Thomas. There's so
That's
many
okay.
people in my brain's farting
That's
right
okay.
now. Just
I
let you know,
probably won't
fellas,
put
I love
names
y'all.
out
I'm
there
sorry,
anyway.
but Corey Christensen. Anyways, why do you put them out there? These guys deserve to be known. Like, because I honestly believe, and this is something I truly believe, is that if you want to know what God looks like, look at the people. Like, look at the men of Christ or the women of Christ in your life, and you're going to see what God looks like. You're going to see the love. You're going to see the compassion. You're going to see your brothers right there beside you each and every time. If God needs to correct you in your life, God don't point a finger and say get corrected. He uses the people in your life to correct you. He uses the people in your life to disciple you. He uses the people in your life to love on you, lead you, guide you. So I think these guys. If you have a person in your life that disciples you, I honestly believe like you need to let it be known. Like let them people know you love them and they're there for you. But anyways, so I'm in the Bible study and Corey tells me to stand up and he goes, stand up, introduce yourself, tell them why you're here. I'm like, well, it's all right. I'm Eric. I just gave my life to Christ. And man, when I said that, boom, everybody broke out, yelling and cheering, and that felt good for my
Yeah,
pride. But
it's nice to feel like people are on your side for a
and
change,
Corey,
isn't it?
yeah, so this is what Corey does. Corey goes, yeah, he tried to kill himself by overdose. he, he tried, yeah, he's a drug addict. And I was like, and the response was, yeah, man, I used to be one too. Yeah, man, I used to be one too. Hey, man, and I'm like, you go to North Monroe, North Monroe is people in F-250s with Patagonia wear, and, the nice khakis and pants and boots. And here I am looking like, crazy. And I'm like, these same people that are elevated in life, they used to be in the same boat, and it was very humbling. People are going to judge me; they were going to assume the worst. I thought it was going to be the opposite, and it wasn't. It was probably the most loving environment I've ever been in my life. To this day, I still tell people, and people, I don't want to go to the church, man. The church is full of them, but hypocrites and everything else. I'm like, man, my church is full of addicts, addicts, sinners, people that hated God, but now are on fire for Jesus. And it's not about what they criticize you about. It's how they correct you in love, how they lead you, how they guide you. That's for me. And I look on it now. Before Christ, I saw so like the church I look at now is more about correcting out of love and discipling and disciplining and like leading you, going, hey, this is not what you think this is. You need to go this direction because I've been down that road before. I know you need to go this way. And my pride at first was like, man, you don't know nothing about me. And then I went on my first men's retreat and I was like, all right, yeah, they know exactly what I'm going through because that was a blast in the face. River rule in effect. I'm not going to go into the men's retreats because uh, I don't want to spoil it for nobody. But if you get offered to go, anybody, if you get an offer to go, go. Don't put it off. Don't wait. Because it was probably one of the most life changing events in my life. That first night, that first night just smacks you in the mouth. You know what I mean? That was a smack in the mouth that first night. We did it at Chioka. Chioka's got the woods you walk through. It was crazy. Then I remember that first night, like I'm talking to Brad after, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe that I've done the crap that I've done, knowing what was done for me. So I got baptized that weekend in the coldest pool I've ever got in my life. I swear, Bill,
Oh, here
I
we
could
go.
not feel my legs at all. No, but they were. It was crazy. Like I went completely numb from the waist down. I think the water was like right under 30 something degrees that day. But it's such a big body of water that it don't freeze up quick. So I'm standing there. I get baptized. Corey and Brad baptized me. Probably one of the greatest memories I'll ever have. And let me tell you something. The next few weeks after, I was kind of, I was on fire, and I'm trying to figure out like where God wants me at in ministry, and I felt in my heart that God was calling me to minister in rehabs and things like that. So me and a buddy of mine named Matt Militello, We started going to rehabs and prisons and ministering to people, and that was an amazing experience for a young believer. But at the same time, I was still
Did
a
you
young
just quit
believer.
doing drugs? Like,
So even though that, oh yeah, I quit. Yeah, I just quit cold turkey. I quit cold turkey. So we go to the rehabs and everything, and we're in these rehabs and we're preaching, and I say preaching, we're witnessing to people. We started getting into baptisms, and we're baptizing these people, and I look back on it now and I feel bad for it, and the reason why is because like, what did I say wrong that may have misled somebody? Because I was so fresh in my walk that like, what did I say that may have led somebody astray, right? What did I say that may have misled somebody to believe something that's not right? And that's a very humbling experience now that I think about it. But anyways, there was still a lot of life change going on. Like, even though I may have messed up a time or two, God was still there working regardless. And there were days where I didn't want to get up and go. But the days where I didn't want to go and I got up anyways and went were some of the greatest days we had. I think there was one we baptized like 15 people at Ravel Recovery, and 3 of those people that we baptized actually went on a men's retreat when they got out of rehab, and they're doing great now. They're doing great. One is Joshua Abear. He lives here in Start, and then one of the guys, I can't remember his name, but I baptized him. I mean, these guys are doing great now. And then what's crazy is one of the guys, he got his wife to go on a women's retreat. Now she's saved. Now she's working in women's retreats. So like, I look back on it now and I'm like, man, like if I would have not got up that day. Now, am I saying that God's still not going to work? Yes, God's going to work regardless, right? So, but I may have hindered the salvation of so many people by doing something I wanted to do instead of doing what God wanted me to do. And I'm not saying that as a prideful thing. I'm saying that as an obedience factor. Like, you have got to be obedient. You've got to get up and go regardless of what, because you never know
yeah,
what that may translate into down the road. And now this other girl, she's doing great. She's on fire for the Lord. I mean, all these guys are doing good. Joshua is doing amazing. Like, he was strung out. Like, now he when you see him, he has the biggest smile on his face. Like, you see freedom in that man, and it's so humbling to know. And there's also a little bit of a pride factor in there, because it's good to know that, like, hey, me witnessing to him helped bring him close to Christ, and now he's doing what he's doing now and living his best life. So I'll never say that, there's not that feeling of great, you did a good job, but also at the same time, it's like, I didn't do nothing. I just shook the water dish. I shook the water dish. He drank out of it himself. But God was still the one that did what God does each and every day, and that's bust open the doors of your heart, let himself in, and just do what he does best, and that's change your life.
what's your life look like?
So,
What's your
but
life look like now?
now I'm gonna tell you something right now, Bill, and I hope this don't put nobody off. Living for Christ is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. It is. As a man who always had to be in control or whatever else, like, it is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, is live for Christ. But it's only because I've been so stubborn and hard-headed and wanted to do what I wanted to do that I've caused it to be hard. I did not submit like I should have. I wasn't obedient like I should have. When I started crossing that line and going, okay, like, where do I need to be obedient? Where do I need to start paying attention? Like, all right, you go ahead and direct this the way you need to direct it, Lord. That's when things started to change. And Liam's mom was killed last year, and she she tragically passed away, and now he lives with me full time. And like, it's such an honor to be able to raise my child. Like, my son comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Dad, Jesus loves me, don't he?" I'm like, "Yeah, he loves you, son." If I listen to some kind of secular music in the truck, like, he'll go, "Hey, Daddy, can you put on Jesus music?" You know what? You're right. So, "Hey, Daddy, we going to church tomorrow?" "Yep, we're going to church." Like, he's like my check valve. Like, God put him in my life to go, "Hey, man, like, I got big plans for you, but you need to get over yourself." Like, so Liam is like, I mean, Liam is a whirlwind of blonde hair and attitude. But he's a great kid. I got out of the car business. I own my own business now. Last year, I opened up a business called Rooted Heating and Air. I do heating and air, standby generators, electrical work. Something I never thought I would do is own my own business. Never thought I'd do it. Last year was the first year I was in business for 8 months. Last year we actually turned a profit. I never thought that was possible, but I actually turned a profit my first year. Just did my taxes, and I'm still sick to my stomach after doing my taxes. But you know, I mean, life right now is, I was saying to myself last night, like, I'm actually happy. I'm actually happy. Like me and Misty right now, she's gone. I ruined that with my attitude, my anger, my jealousy, and my insecurity and my fears. Like I destroyed that relationship with her, I think. But I've done a lot of soul searching lately, a lot of correction, things that I needed to correct, and it's made me see things differently now. But yeah, like right now, I'm actually happy. I'm honestly happy. I'm joyful. Finances ain't looking good right now. It's slow season. I mean, business season's about to pick up, but so financially it's a little tight right now. But like, it's not horrible. Like God still provides. He's still there. He's still leading. He's still guiding. And I started back writing a book. I got one book written already. It's called The Jump. I'll have to send you a copy of it if you want to read it. I got a book called The Jump, and it's already done. And then I got another book I'm writing right now called Men at War. It's really good. I have to send you the first 6 chapters to that. Let you check it out. But
Have you
it's been a
noticed? Have
time.
you
You know,
caught yourself
it's been.
resorting to the parenting that you got whenever you was a child?
I catch myself. There are times where like he does something, I'm like, hey, and I'm like, I remember what I felt like when I was told no. Never mind. Like I I I catch myself being strict, and then I have to go. Okay, like I'll go and apologize to my son. Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled, or I should have did this. Like, let's go. Let's go ride around. Let's go listen to music. Let's go out to the park. Let's go to the zoo. You know. So I try to go do things with him. Like I think the next thing we got on the list right now is I think I either want to take him to the beach or I'm going to take him to a NASCAR race. We might go to Texas Motor Speedway or Talladega in a couple weeks. I don't know, but his birthday's coming up, so we're going to do something big for his birthday. It's his first birthday without his mother,
I bet
so we're
that.
going to do something
I
big.
bet that is. How old is
I'm
he?
still planning it, but he'll be six.
And he
He'll
just
be
lost
six
his
in,
mom.
in a month and a half. Yeah, yeah.
How
She
is
passed away July of last year, July the 8th. She was
how
killed in a head-on car accident. He's a trooper. He's a trooper. He don't really understand it. He goes to grief counseling. I mean, we go to grief counseling. And I go to grief counseling only because if something ever comes up, I want it to be caught before it gets too bad. So we do go to grief counseling, and that's beneficial for him. The lady there for Granbury, she's amazing. She does a great job with him. We go to church. We go to North Monroe. He goes to school here in Start. Like they know his situation, so like if there's days where he don't want to go to school, and there are days where like he don't want to go to school, he wants to be attached to me, and I get it. So I don't send him to school. Right now I'm in trouble with the school board because like we have so many days that we're absent, but like if my son is having an emotional day where he wants to stay home with me, like my son's going to stay home with me. I'm not going to go, no, no, you've got to go to school, and he's having a bad day dealing with grief. Like I'm not, no. Like you can find me, you can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to do my son dirty just because you have some rule. That's just not how it's going to work. That's my kid at the end of the day, not yours. So I'm dealing with that right now, but it is what it is. But like life right now is good. Like I, I went through a spell a few weeks ago where like I just felt like God wasn't hearing my prayers. Like I was praying out and crying and like God, like why aren't you responding? And I realized real quick that it's my impatience. If you'll just hold on just a little while longer, like there's always something on the other side of whatever you're going through. You just have to make sure that you can get through it because we're always going to go through something. We're always going to go through it, no matter how bad or how big or how little or how sad it may be. Like we're always going to go through something. I'll put it to you this way, and this is the best way I've ever heard it put, Bill. You ever seen the buffaloes? A buffalo? A buffalo, when a storm's coming, buffaloes never run away from the storm. They always run to it and run through it. And they get on the other side of it and it's done. But the longer you run away from a storm in your life, the longer it's just going to keep being behind you. It's going to keep being behind you until you finally just say, you know what? You deal with it, you get through it, and you get on the other side of it. And God's got something waiting on the other side that was way better than what was on the other side before that. So, like, you've got to get through whatever you're going through. You've got to be patient, and you've just got to hang on. Because, I mean, this walk is not easy. Nowhere in the Bible did God say, I'm going to make your walk with me easy. He actually said the exact opposite. Like, it's going to be tough. Like, you're going to have hard days. The enemy's going to come at you harder than he's ever came at you because now you're a threat. And when you become a threat, you're going to get pursued harder. Because the bigger of a threat that you are for God will be a bigger of a distraction you'll be if you live a life for for the enemy. If I'm doing big things for the Lord, I'll do even bigger things for the enemy because it's so easy to do it. I can ruin 1,000,000 lives tomorrow, or I can help 10 lives today. I mean, that's just that's the reality of it. And I take it. I gotta take everything. I gotta take every day one day at a time. Because for so long I've tried to do. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, whatever. Like I'm gonna try to do. And if I just stop and take one day at a time, I can deal with today's problems and not worry about tomorrow yet. I'm working on my anger. I'm working on my fears. I'm working on my insecurities. Like I'm working on the things that have drug me down for so long and ruined the lives of the people that I've wronged in that process. Like Misty, I've hurt Misty. I hurt Misty bad. I've put scars on that woman that she never deserved to carry. Never deserved to carry, but I still put them on there because of the scars that I've been carrying for so long. It's time to put some Neosporin on them scars and get them out of the way, right? So I've been working on them, and that's been a very surreal experience. Is starting to see the introspective of the things I'm dealing with. So we got through that, and the big thing that God is working on me
I
right
think
now
that's all
is
of us.
getting over myself.
That's all of us.
Like you got to get over yourself. Yeah, like getting over myself and getting myself out of the way because it's I'm such a distraction to myself. I'm my biggest distraction. I'll distract myself with whatever I can find to not focus on the responsibilities I have in my life. I'll make every excuse. I'll make every complaint. I whine like a baby instead of dealing with my responsibilities. And now it's time to go, hey, like you got major responsibilities in your life. Like not only did I give you a son to raise, but I gave you a company to work. I gave you a home to live in. I've given you food to put in your stomach. Like I've given you ultra responsibilities. Like you are a child of God, and that comes with responsibilities as well. And so like God's like, hey, like, I'm tired of your whining, I'm tired of your crying, I'm tired of your complaining. It's time to start doing what I've asked you to do. You know, I mean, just like with my kid, just like with Liam. Like, son, I'm tired of hearing you cry. I'm tired of hearing you complain. Just go do what I told you to do. And then I'll sit on the couch and go, crap. I probably sound like God right now because it's probably the same thing that he's saying to me. Like, I'm tired of you doing what you want to do. It's time to do what I've been telling you to do for this whole time. Like, I saved your life back in 23. I saved your life back in 23 twice. I saved your life twice. No, actually 3 times. I saved your life the first time in the car. I saved your life that night on the floor, and then I saved your life the next day when you submitted your life to me. Like I've saved your life over and over and over. I died on the cross for your sins. I've done all these things. When are you going to start doing what I asked you to do, instead of the same thing that you keep wanting to do? And I got to get over myself because I am. Excuse my language. Excuse my abbreviation, but I'm the BS myself more than I've ever seen. Like I will BS myself. I'll BS other people. Like I will try to hide who I am because I think that who I am is not good enough, so I have to be somebody else. Like just be who God made you to be. Just be that person. Like I've always tried to control my life. Quit controlling your life and just live the life that you've been given. Enjoy it. You want to go to the beach? Go to the beach. You want to go to that NASCAR race? Go to the NASCAR race. You want to eat that steak? Eat that steak. But also remember that when you do the things you want to do that you've been blessed with doing, God's right there too. Like, hey, you've got to go do what God wants you to do. And I'm gonna make this statement, Bill, and it's gonna shock so many people. I don't care about heaven. Heaven's not on my mind. I don't care about heaven right now. And a lot of people are like, well, that's crazy to say. No, it's really not. Why am I? If I live a life for Christ and it's reward based, then what is it doing? If I live my life for Christ just so I can go to heaven, what am I really doing? God's not a vending machine. God's not, so I care about heaven, yes, but I don't care about heaven. It's not my goal. My goal is to live a life for Christ and bring as many people with me as I can. And maybe that's where I've been having tough times at, because like I expect too much out of myself. But like, it's you got to quit focusing on the
Yeah.
blessings and focus on the blesser. You got to quit focusing on what God's already promised. Heaven's coming. Heaven's gonna happen regardless. Like heaven's gonna happen. Heaven's going to happen. God's promised me these things. These things are coming. So I don't need to live this life for Christ just to live for the promises He's already promised me. I need to live a life for Christ based on what He wants me to do in this world, because guess what? My salvation's not for myself. The love that God has for me is not for myself. These are things that I am supposed to express to other people to bring other people to Christ. So if I do this on a if I do this merit based or reward based, then I'm not doing it for the real reasons. I'm doing it just so again I can get what I want, and that's not to spend eternity in hell, you know. But when you live a life for Christ, you live a life for Christ,
Yeah.
because God don't owe me nothing. He
With
don't owe me
me,
a
man,
thing.
it's hard to really wrap your mind around heaven, you know, because it's such a struggle here.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Because you're like, man, like I'm going through all this now. Like, what does heaven even mean? Like, if I'm going through this now, well, heck, man, when all this is over, then what? Like, I know what you're telling me, but I don't feel it right now. And man, let me tell you something. My buddy Jason Martin. Jason owns All Plumbing in Monroe, right there by the Sonic on 165. Jason Martin. Jason, I was in his office one day and he said, Eric, let me tell you something. He said, you got to quit listening to your feelings, because feelings will lie to you and they're not real. And I am so bad about that. I wear my feelings on my chest, on my shoulder, and like I let them tell me everything. How I feel about this person, that person, how I feel about God, how I feel about life. I let my feelings speak to me, and they whisper in my ear and tell me things that aren't true. And I've got to quit listening to feelings. And that's essentially what this comes down to. Yeah, this life may be complicated, it may be hard, it may be just so weird, but like I've got to quit feeling the fact that it's weird. I got to quit feeling the fact that it's complicated, and I've just got to focus on God, focus on His Word, focus on prayer. But at the end of the day, though, and here's another thing I'm going to tell you, and this is God's honest truth. Some days it don't feel like prayer works. Some days I'm tired of people telling me just pray about it, just read your Bible. I know, bro. I know. That's what I've been doing, and it's not working. Like, I'm sick of having that conversation. I'm sick of people telling me that. Like, yeah, I'm going through this. I know what I'm going through. I don't need you to tell me what to do that I've been trying to do to help get through it anyways, and it ain't working. And then the next day, it all changes, and I'm like, gosh dang it, I should have listened. But you get to a point on your walk where you're like, man, I'm sick of people telling me the same soapbox thing. Quit telling me this freaking, what do they call that? What do they call like a supplemental answer, like an answer
Like a
that's
stock
just
answer.
common, like frequently asked questions. Like there's always an answer for it. It's always the same answer. Yeah, yeah, like a stock answer. Like quit telling me this. Like I know what this means. I know there's something in the Bible that tells me what I need to tell me. There's something I need to pray about. But when it feels like the prayer's not being heard, and when it feels like you're just reading the Bible and not getting anything out of it, then what do you do? And somebody's like, well, why don't you just shut up and be still for a while? And I was like, well, that's something I never tried. Why don't you just turn the radio off, turn the TV off, put down the phone, put it on silent, and just sit there, and instead of talking to God, listen, let God talk to you. And it's been a very freeing experience. It's been like, okay, we're doing something a little different now. Don't be fooled and think that this walk is easy. It's not. It's complicated. It's weird. It's rocky. It's strange because it's something that we've never experienced. Every day is a new day in your walk. Every day is just something new. And it's something you never experienced before because you have not lived this kind of life before. So, like, as a man, we're trying to navigate that and we're going, I don't know what this is. It's weird. Whatever it is, forget it, you know? And then you come back to it later on and you're like, okay, I understand it now. And that's when it comes down to having the right people in your life. When you got the right people around you, just like when we did the retreat for the assembly, I didn't know those guys. And I told them going, like when I got there, I was like, I don't want to be around none of y'all. I don't like y'all. I don't know y'all. I can care less about y'all. Like, I don't want to do these activities with y'all. Like, I don't want to be here. And I've been walking, I've been, I've had a life. I dedicated my life to Christ 3 years ago, like 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3 years ago. Wow. 3 years ago. And here I am on a retreat when I've teamed a bunch of retreats before. I've teamed probably 14, 15 retreats. And like, they want me to be a guest. And I'm just like, I don't know y'all. I don't care nothing about y'all, dude. Like, I don't want to be here. And then like toward the end of it, like, I was like, my God, like I was a
Yeah, I remember
fool and I
talking
felt
to you.
bad. And like,
I remember talking to you, and
you
there
know,
were,
I
I
had
think
to,
it was maybe the first or second day, and you were like, man, this is hurting my pride. I'm not supposed to be a guest. I'm supposed to be a teamer on this. And I said, man, just enjoy it.
I
Just sit
team.
back and enjoy it. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
did that or not, but
And that's what yeah, I finally did. I finally did. Let me tell you something. The testimony, I heard some words from Kenneth Halley. And Kenneth, I've heard his testimony like 3 or 4 times before. But for some reason, like that one hit me. That time, hearing it that time, hit me because I was like, man, I'm going through the same thing. I got to plug this in, Bill. I'm at 3%. But like, it hit me. And I was like, man, like I've got to, I got, and me and Kenneth talked about it and he explained it. And it makes so much sense now. Like, come on, I
I
hope
don't
I
know.
plug this in time. Where's my phone cord at? But his words made sense and they made an impact on me. And it was very introspective. So it helped out a lot.
Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay. Wow, this thing is like
All right. So
dying so fast. It may cut off on us, Bill. I'm on zero. I'm about to die.
I can't hear you no more.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
It's at zero. It's at zero. It's at 0%.
Okay.
Like it went from 3 to 0
So you
that
have it
quick.
plugged in now?
All right. Yeah, I got it plugged in now. It
Okay.
ain't dying, so
So
it'll be all right.
if you could go back and tell your 16-year-old, 15-year-old self something, what would you tell them?
Listen to the people around you. Listen to the people around you. As a young kid, your parents always go, if you'll just listen, I've been down that road before. I know. And as a kid, you're like, whatever. Like, you don't know what I'm going through. And like now that I'm older, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I understand it. Uh, Listen to the people around you. Be intentional about your life. Don't just do things just to do them. Be intentional about the things you do and why you do them. And number 3 is just surrender. Quit trying to be the biggest man in the room and just surrender to God. Because once you do, the freedom that I've found far exceeds anything else.
Do you still have
It's
times
massive for me.
whenever you go back in your mind to the trauma and things that you experienced whenever you were a kid?
No, no, not now, no. Uh, I've kind of, I have faced that demon so much that he's not even there anymore. You
You
know
made up your
that
mind
that
that
that's all. God
that
took all
those
that away.
demons aren't going to be passed
I
down to your
mean,
son.
yes, that's one thing that I have to keep telling myself every day is like, don't be the trauma that you've experienced. Like, because trauma's hereditary. Trauma's hereditary. Like those habits, those scars, they're hereditary. It's like don't pass them down. Like you can't do that because when you do, all you've
Yeah.
got to break what they call generational curses. You've got to break that curse because if you don't, It's just going to keep translating until finally somebody somewhere along down the road gets, you know what, I'm tired of this, and they stop it for real. Or the worst of the worst is your lineage
Yeah,
is
I
pretty
look
much
back at
killed off. You
my
know?
family, man. I have alcoholism, perverts, drug use, everything, abuse on all levels in my family history, not in my life personally, but as far as like drinking, I mean, I was a party animal. And but it was like from a young age,
Yeah,
it was accepted. And it was, that became my identity. And once you identify with something and you say that's me, that's what makes me tick or whatever, then it's so much harder to change those those things because you think that you're doing
yeah,
what you're supposed to do, made to do. But so
exactly.
now you have your business, you have your son. What's the game plan from here on out?
You know what, Bill? I used to have a game plan. I don't anymore. And the reason being is because I've realized the more that I plan, the more I try to control. So now, as far as like, yes, I want the business to grow, obviously. The main thing is I want to lead and guide my son, teach him about Christ. I mean, he loves Jesus. He loves Jesus. We teach him about Christ, raise him up in the church. You know, I want to see him become a man. You know, right now we're starting to get into sports and things like that. So like, I mean, there are those things, but as far as like a game plan to everyday life, I don't have one. I threw the game book out. I threw the playbook out. I threw the playbook out, and I'm not winging it, but I'm not trying to control it either. I'm just letting God take it where He wants to take it. Because me trying to control it, the result of that is instead of this home being me and Liam and my stepkids and my kids and Misty, it's none of that. It's just me and him now because I've ruined that by trying to be controlling. And by trying to be controlling, I get angry, and then my anger has a problem. And like so like I threw the playbook out. Like I got rid of it. Like I'm done with trying to control the things around me, and I'm just going to let them be what they are. Now, am I going to be disciplined in it? Yes. But am I going to
So
control it? No.
you're
There's
gonna
no
keep the
point.
people in your life
What can I control?
that are helping to guide you, right? You're gonna stay focused on God, and you're gonna be there for your kid. That's pretty much a game plan, bro.
Right.
That's pretty much a game plan.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's
But you're
yeah,
not having to.
but it's not a. It's not
But it's
a.
not a game plan where you're in
It's not a
control.
structured game.
It's a game plan where God's in
Exactly.
control, and that's difficult.
Exactly.
It's difficult to trust that He's going to take care of the rest. That's what I say. Do the best you can. Do the best you can with what you
Yeah.
have,
Because we're
and
so.
trust that God
Yeah.
will take care of the rest. But that trusting that God will take care of the rest—that's the difficult part.
It's so difficult. Like so difficult because trust. We have the whole thing where trust is earned and all that. Like, yeah, but like God earned my trust that day on Calvary. So let's cut to that chase. But it's so hard to trust when you've been let down for so long, but you've only been let down because you tried to do things your way and you let yourself down. I'm going to disconnect this building at 8%. We're going to transfer to the truck. I've got to go get him because the school bus driver does not come to the house. She goes to the end of the road. So I have to go get him, but we'll continue this in the truck because I'm going
Well,
to
I've
just park
got.
and sit there.
I mean, is there anything that you haven't said that you wanted to say or go over?
Well, I mean, I don't know how long you set this thing for. I don't know how long
I
your
try to get
episodes
them
usually
down
are.
to less than an hour. I mean, we've been on here for 2 hours, but I'll edit it down. But I want to make sure that you get everything in there that you wanted. You know what I mean?
Hang on.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now? Hang on.
yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, disconnected. The biggest thing is like quit thinking that you're too far gone. I heard a quote, and it's probably one of the most profound quotes. Two things, really. So the first is, God knew who he was dying for. God knew what he was getting and what he paid the price for. Like he knew what the cost of crucifixion was. He knew who you were going to be before you even were it. He knew who you were when he was walking to Calvary. Like he knew. He knows what that price is paid for. So don't ever think that you're too far gone for God. Don't ever think that you're too far outside of Him. First of all, quit listening to mainstream to the world around you today, because the world around you today does nothing but fool you. The world around you today tells you depression's okay. The world around you today tells you that all these crazy things are okay, and they're not. Genesis 3:11 has one of my favorite verses. It's when Adam and Eve are in the garden and they eat of the fruit and they're hiding because they're naked. Because God comes in the garden and he's naked. And they're naked, so they're hiding from him. And he's calling for him. He goes, Adam, and Adam goes, I'm right here, God. And God goes, where are you? He goes, I'm hiding. He goes, why are you hiding? He says, because I'm naked. And God asked this one question. Who told you that? Who told you that you're naked? And who told you that you're depressed? Who told you that you're an alcoholic? Who told you that you're a drug addict? Who told you that you're a criminal? Who told you that you're this or that you're that or you're this or you're that? Whose voice have you let get so loud that it tries to tell you who and what you are? Whose voice have you allowed to get louder than God's? You know, because for so long people are like, I'm just a dirty old drug addict. No, you're not. You're a child of God, is what you are. You're a child of God, is what you are. Like, that's who you are. A drug addict is what the world tells you you are.
Quit letting other people's voice get so loud that it lies to you. And just experience the surrender, because the surrender is going to be so good that you're going to keep chasing that feeling the entire time. And you're going to focus on Christ and just make sure that what you're doing is intentional, that what you're doing is focused, and
How much
just
did
live a life for Christ.
unforgiveness play a part in your?
Unforgiveness played a lot. How can you expect God to forgive you if you can't forgive the people that have wronged you? How can you get on your knees and go, God, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me? Yet you can't get on your knees and go, God, how do I forgive this person first? Like, you have got to get that out of the way, because unforgiveness is like a plague. It's going to play the hardest ball, and it's going to keep you further away from Christ than you think it is. You think drugs and alcohol are bad? Drugs and alcohol are bad, yeah. But holding on to a grudge and not forgiving somebody, that separates you even worse, in my opinion, because that's something that is going to carry that you're going to carry for a long time. So
So
you've got to try to find a way to forgive somebody. I know it's not easy.
so final thoughts. What would you tell
Go ahead.
somebody? I mean, what do you whenever you go and you minister to people? What is your message usually? You share your testimony.
I've testimony before. I think the biggest thing I try to tell people, and drug addicts are the worst about this, quit playing the victim. Quit playing the victim and realize that your actions, your decisions have caused you to live the life that you've lived. And now it's time for you to start it's finally time for you to stop making those decisions and start letting somebody else make the decision for you, and that's God. Because you've tried to control your life, you've tried to live your life, you've tried to find everything you can to escape reality, and none of it's worked. It's taken everything from you. It's caused depression. It's give you suicidal thoughts. It's caused drug addiction, alcoholism, anxiety, fear, all these things. Because all you've tried to do your entire life is you've tried to find a way to fix your life the entire time, and nothing's worked. Nothing's worked. You can say, "Oh, I'm happy." What's happiness? Happiness is nowhere in the Bible. Joy is. What you're experiencing ain't joy, it's fleeting happiness. Until something comes along that rocks you so hard that you fall into a deep depression, you put another needle in your arm, you pick up a bottle, you try to kill yourself. But let me tell you, when you stop playing the victim and you start realizing that you're the antagonist in your story, that you are the villain of your story, when you start realizing that, that's when things start to change. And that's something that I just recently went through, was figuring out I'm the villain in my story. I'm the reason that Batman has to suit up every night and fight crime. I'm the problem, you know? And it wasn't until I figured out that I'm the problem that I go, you know what, God, you just handle this. Because obviously I'm not cutting it. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not cut out to make a decision for myself. We're called children of God for a reason. The parent makes the decision for the child. The child don't make the
Amen.
decision for themselves.
Amen. So final thoughts. Do you have anything that you haven't said that you would like to say?
Life's not the problem that you think it is. Life is what God's given you, and how you live it dictates how it goes. And the longer you and there's a song called Chasing Rebels, and it's so real. Like our God, he chases people down. You're not gonna you can try to run from him all you want, but it's not gonna work. Quit trying to run away from the storm and just run through it. Meet God where he's at and let God do what he's gonna do, and experience the
Amen.
freedom that you're gonna find in him. Love is the love is one of the greatest things that we've been given. But until you understand what love is, you'll
Yeah,
never
and it's
understand
difficult
why
to
God loves you the way he
understand
loves you.
that whenever you don't feel like, whenever you haven't had that, whenever you weren't raised in that environment of love, you know. Well, brother,
Yep. Me and Misty actually had that conversation. Can I just say this? Me and Misty actually had that conversation. She said, Eric, when I feel happiness, when I feel joy, when I feel safe, when I feel secure, when I feel like things are going right, that's when things feel so weird to me, because I've never had that. And when you first walk with Christ, it's going to feel so weird because you've never had that. And it's going to challenge you. But you just got to stay the course and keep going, because the transformation
yes, it is.
is amazing. It's
Yes,
amazing.
it is. We're going to pray that the Holy Spirit is going to take over and it'll change lives. So you want to pray us out? Amen. Amen. Okay, well, I'll get this edited and I'm gonna try to get it out pretty quick. Yeah, man, I'll let you know before I put it out. Is there anything that was said that you don't want me to put out? All right, brother, I love you. Have a good one.